At this point, is it worth buying an RTX 4080 for the 16 gigabytes of VRAM or wait until next gen? And what price should the 4070 Ti/4080 be at this time? Well, I mean, what price should a 4080 be? So the 3080, which we thought was great value, was $700.
Mm-hmm. So
40.
$700.
I mean, ideally, yes, but let's take inflation and other.
I've taken those into consideration, and it should be $700.
Well, you've twisted my arm, and I tend to agree. Maybe like $800, not $900 at most.
I mean, I personally couldn't be recommending it any more than $1,000 in the current market, and we're talking about like a crappy market, right? Like,
yeah, I'm not talking. Yeah, I wasn't taking a crappy market. I was talking about what. Yeah.
So it should be priced even better than that. So I guess like $1,000 is sort of the ceiling, and then it's probably more realistically like, as you say, $800 or $900. But then on top of that, like, the only reason we're talking about that in this question is that that's NVIDIA's own, like, that's the minimum that you get for 16 gigabytes outside of the 4060 Ti 16 gig. And really, a product like a 4070 should have 16 gig, and that should be more like $500, $400-ish dollars. So,
basically, what price should it be? We're clearly thinking more like previous pricing structures of generations just gone.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a small premium for economic factors, but I mean, we haven't seen motherboards. I know people will go, oh, motherboards are so expensive now, but they're reasonably well-featured motherboards that aren't too extreme for both AMD and Intel. Memories across the board is affordable, whether it's DDR5 or NAND flash. It's all of those things are pretty affordable now. They don't seem to be under the same economic pressure as GPUs. I wonder why that is. It has nothing to do with that AI I've heard of. So while people like to talk about inflation, all these things which are real, the degree to which they're real is highly debatable.
Mm-hmm.
So some premium associated with them, sure. Not $1,200 US for a 4080. That's absurd.
I don't think it's worth buying a 4080 just to get 16 gigabytes of VRAM. There are certainly many other products that, if that was your main consideration, that would be much more worth buying.
Yeah, you can look at cost per frame stuff to work out what's offering you the best value for around the price you're willing to spend. But yeah, would you buy one now in the product cycle, or would you just hold out and see what happens next year? Depends on what you've got, I suppose, your situation, how... Yeah. You could be holding out quite comfortably, or you could be holding out in absolute desperation.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I wouldn't be waiting on the expectation that prices are going to be dropping slowly over time. It seems, having now done these GPU pricing updates monthly, it seems more like we're going to get into a period of stability with pricing, where things will settle at a level, and that will be it. And you might get the occasional sales for things like Black Friday and so forth. But it seems like the only things that are really driving different GPU prices at the moment are the launch of new products. So, for example, NVIDIA dropping a 4070 from $500 to $450 was only because AMD produced the 7800 XT. So, yeah, once we sort of get those products in, you're probably pretty much just waiting for a next generation of cards. I wouldn't be like hoping fingers crossed that suddenly a 4080 is going to be $700 like midway through next year. I think they're very much just going to hold out, not produce the cards, just like, don't bother making those. We'll just make some AI-focused stuff and workstation cards and whatever. And that's going to be the situation. And I think what we've talked about in previous Q&As about trying to reset the market, reset expectations on GPU pricing is probably going to be what will be the situation moving forward. There's probably still a few adjustments that need to be made, like a 7700 XT is just not going to sell at $450, so that's potentially going to come down. But beyond that, it is what it is, really.
Mm-hmm.